Mr. Ken Wong. Thank you, Deputy President. I speak in support of Dr. Hoey Simon Lee's motion. The National 15th Five-Year Plan expressly states that there should be better integrated development of the Hong Kong-Macao Greater Bay Area, and that Hong Kong should be built into an international INT center. These are not individual projects, and these are not goals that can be achieved in the short term. We need stable and binding policy to support these goals. Coordinated development in the GBA is an effective protection tool, so we must explore collaborative legislation in the GBA. Previously in the mainland, we saw Tianjin, Beijing, and Hubei working together with the NPC to come up with a mechanism to reduce emission by vehicles as well as non-road mobile machinery. This is to ensure prevention and control. The three places, together with the NPC, formulated a decision, and the rules promulgated were implemented in the three places. The rules were transformed into policies, and I think we should not neglect the differences among the three places when we explore collaborative legislation in the GBA. Within our own authority and power, we should first have discussions, and then we should explore in an orderly manner collaborative legislation. At the initial phase, the SAR government can pick a few directions to start with. First, we should formulate a cross-boundary emergency response mechanism. For example, we can use the cross-boundary ambulance scheme as a pilot. As at the end of March, 25 patients from Shenzhen, Zhuhai, and Nansha have been transferred to public hospitals in Hong Kong for treatment. We can extend these kinds of cross-boundary mechanisms. However, we need to first ensure that lawyers as well as healthcare professionals can have legal safeguards. Second, we should also extend the cross-boundary dispute resolution mechanism. Currently, we already have an arbitration register, and we also have a 2025 GBA arbitration name list and register. And there are professionals with over 8 years of experience. For the next step, we can explore how we can legalize the regime so that there could be mutual recognition of our arbitration systems with the GBA, so that we can enhance the confidence of investors in the business environment in the GBA. Also, the National 15th Five-Year Plan states that the GBA should be built into a high-caliber talent hub. The key is whether we can retain these talents. And whether we can retain talents depend on whether our system is reliable. We should come up with cross-boundary professional qualifications as well as cross-boundary IP protection system. We should also facilitate the flow of personnel among the GBA. The key of developing and promoting integrated development in the GBA lies in the alignment of rules and mechanisms. We should proactively, through collaborative legislation, transform individual projects into stable regimes and systems to ensure high-quality development in the GBA. I so submit.
Mr. Chan Yong. Thank you, President. I thank Dr. Hoey Simon Lee for moving this motion on exploring collaborative legislation in the Greater Bay Area. I thank the other members for their amendments. I hope that we can speed up the connection of various cities in the Greater Bay Area so that we can better contribute to national development. When President Xi visited Guangdong last year, and when he met with the chief executive, he stressed that the SAR government must participate in the construction of the Greater Bay Area so that we can better serve and contribute to our country's development. He also said that we have to work on collaborating with other GBA cities in innovation and technology, as well as construction of infrastructures. We have to collaborate with other cities on legislation, on a legal framework. There is one country, two systems, and three jurisdictions in the Greater Bay Area. We have to step up our collaboration on legislation, on the rule of law. The chief executive pointed out that in the Hong Kong's 5-year plan, we are going to enhance our alignment of rules and regulations. We will promote the cross-boundary flow of factors of production. We need alignment and connection. There are many successful examples. On GBA standards, we have a GBA lawyer qualification examinations, and we have a one examination, multiple licenses arrangement. Regarding food safety and electrical and mechanical transport and medicine, there are many GBA standards. There are 235 of such. But as to how we can further implement the expectations bestowed upon us by President Xi, we have to address the challenges. We have different legal systems. We have different supervisory framework on, say, for example, environmental protection, low carbons, energy, so on and so forth. In Hong Kong, drivers can stay in the vehicles for customs clearance, but when we visit the mainland, we have to alight our vehicles for the clearance. We have this joint collaborative inspection, joint clearance arrangement in the new Hong Kong port. We have to make sure that there is cross-boundary flow of biosamples and capitals. What I want to stress is that under one country, two systems, we have to legislate for individual matters, but for cross-boundary matters, when we share the same goals, same interest, we have to establish a collaborative mechanism for soft linkages of regulations and mechanisms. So that's why we have to promote the flow of people, goods, capital, and data. I believe that we all support this direction. We have to, well, in February, we passed a relevant legislation to promote the development of the Northern Metropolis and the Greater Bay Area. In Hong Kong, we are going to enact a dedicated legislation for the Northern Metropolis. We will have a cross-disciplinary, cross-sector and cross-regional collaboration. As we implement the 15th five-year plan, we have to seize the opportunities to promote connection of rules and regulations so that we can make use of our advantage of having one country, two system, and better give full play to our role as a super connector and super value adder. The amendments are about how we can speed up the alignment of rules and regulations in the Greater Bay Area. We have been stressing time and again this soft linkage idea under one country, two system. As we respect the Constitution and basic law, we can explore the possibility of collaborative legislation. I support the amendments in the motion. Ms. Jovi Chan. Thank you, President. I speak in support of Dr. Hoey Simon Lee's original motion and the amendments moved by other members. I support what Mr. Wu Yingpeng said. We have to, under the framework of the one country, two system principle, the basic law, and the constitution, we have to promote collaborative legislation while preserving our common law tradition. This is to respond to the problems people face while they live in the Greater Bay Area and when they do business there. Some members talked about how we can work on collaborative legislation in areas that are more mature. I think that e-commerce is something that we can try out first. Last year, my partners, together with the Guangzhou Chamber of Commerce, organized the Greater Bay Area e-commerce live stream program. I took the examination of e-commerce specialist and obtained the license. In the class, I saw students. Some of them were women, some of them were ethnic minorities. All of them wanted to know more about the development of e-commerce on the mainland. They have great expectations for the class. So this shows that integration in the Greater Bay Area is more than just a slogan. If we have a platform, if we have a standardized system, then we can promote the development of women and young people. Last year, I worked with the E-commerce Promotion Association, and they offer training for women and young people on e-commerce. They have trained more than 50,000 people. Some 40,000 of them were women. They cover e-commerce, live streaming, entrepreneur tutorial. They also offer e-commerce specialist programs. This shows that we already have the assessment of teachers for this e-commerce industry. So I think that we should learn from them so that we can train our own pool of talents on e-commerce. Cross-boundary recognition of qualifications by standardizing our compliance requirements, by establishing a common platform, we can achieve collaboration. I think that we can work on people flow and mutual recognition of qualifications first. Mr. Duncan also talked about this. I think that government can use e-commerce as a starting point. We should relax our CEF so that the money can go with the people, allowing people to sign up for courses on the mainland so that they can have a more diversified career path. E-commerce is also about digital economy. From payment, from customer service, from logistics, they are all about cross-boundary data flow. So I think that there should be a system across the three places so that we can ensure cybersecurity. We can align our teaching standards and qualifications so that we can better contribute to the development of the Greater Bay Area. This is a new career path for young people and women, and this is how we can give better play of our advantage in the rule of law and professional services. I support all the amendments and I support the motion. I hope that the government will establish a roadmap as soon as possible and try out this collaborative legislation on more mature fields, say for example e-commerce, so that people can share the fruits of development of the Greater Bay Area. Thank you. Mr. Ray Wong. President, first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Lee for his motion and the other members for their amendments. I support them. The 15th five-year plan states that we have to dovetail with the international trade rules, and we have to achieve high standard opening up. As we deepen construction of a Greater Bay Area, we have to align our rules and mechanisms. This is how we can develop new quality productive forces in the Greater Bay Area and achieve high-level opening up. This is also how we can integrate international development. If we can break barriers, we can explore collaborative legislation. We have international recognized certification standards. This is how we can contribute. In the Greater Bay Area, we have one country, two systems, three legal jurisdictions. Currently, the financial market is constrained by the different standards we have in the Greater Bay Area. If we can align the rules and standards, we can further develop the Greater Bay Area. Apart from aligning our policies, we must establish common legal framework. We can learn from the Yangtze River example. Under one country, two systems, we can establish a pragmatic mutual recognition framework on, say, INT, livelihood, and professional services. If we can have a mutual set of mutually recognized standards, then we can promote the flow of people, capital, and goods. Under one country systems, we have a unique common law. We are the only common law jurisdictions in our country, and we have a transparent business environment. So I think that this is how we can meet the industry need. I have a few suggestions. First, I think that we can learn from the Yangtze River example. We can regularize the collaborative legislation in the Greater Bay Area. We can target cross-boundary governance and industry collaboration and livelihood issues. We can explore the collaborative legislation. We can respect the differences in the three places to find out our common interests. Through collaborative legislation, we can remove barriers and ease restrictions to promote flow of factors and integration of industries. This is how we can make GBA development more sustainable. Second, we can use Hong Kong as a springboard for mainland enterprises to go global. There is a motorcycle brand on the mainland that won a championship in other places, and they received many orders from Europe and America. If these great mainland manufactured vehicles have to go global, they have to come across or tackle many different problems on, say, standards, certification, and technology. This is how Hong Kong can come to play. In the last centuries, Hong Kong have already established a globally recognized testing and certification system. So I think that we can focus on these areas so that to establish a GBA standard, so that we can have one testing and multiple certification to save time and to remove barriers. This is how we can achieve manufacturing in mainland, certification in Hong Kong. I think that we do have the conditions to be a demonstration zone. We can look into collaborative legislation in the Greater Bay Area to create an international Bay Area to help more mainland brand go global.
Mr. Robert Lee. Thank you, President. We want to deepen GBA collaboration. We want more cooperation between GBA cities to leverage their strengths. I support Dr. Simon Lee's motion. We should study collaborative legislation in the GBA to cover standards and rules across GBA cities. We should look at our cooperation agreement we signed with the Guangdong provincial government in fostering the integration of industries between Hong Kong and Guangdong. That's how we can complement each other. Here are my ideas. First, mutual recognition of licenses in financial services. Second, streamlining regulation to avoid over-regulation or duplicate regulation. And third, more pilot. First, we have worked extensively with Guangdong in financial services. More than 250 businesses from Guangdong are now listed in Hong Kong. They cover areas like internet, new energy, advanced manufacturing, etc. We also have different connect schemes involving mutual market access with Guangdong. That makes it easier for people and capital to move between Hong Kong and the mainland. Now, we already have a pilot scheme for Hong Kong lawyers to practice in the 9 mainland cities of the GBA. On that basis, while we keep risks manageable and we uphold professional standards, we should try a mutual recognition system for financial qualifications. We start with a pilot and then we gradually expand the scope. That way, Hong Kong's financial institutions will be in a better position to serve the rest of the Greater Bay Area. This can also help the development of the Wealth Management Connect, because with such a scheme, professionals here will be able to visit the mainland cities and tell people about the products, and that will mean better services. Some mainland Chinese financial institutions in Hong Kong say that they are required to follow financial regulations in both Hong Kong and in the mainland. So they are working with greater constraints than certain industry peers. We want a level playing field for everyone. So the HKSCR government should get our Securities and Futures Commission to work with mainland regulators. We should avoid or reduce double regulation to make it easier for mainland Chinese financial institutions in Hong Kong enjoy greater flexibility in tapping new markets and reaching out to new customers. There used to be a 18-point plan for venture capital involving Shanghai. So that involved aligning rules in investment. Non-mainland investment was allowed to go into unlisted companies in the mainland. So we should go for consultation and collaborations. Let's expand collaboration over private equity. Let's gradually expand the scope to cover other mainland cities. Last year, the Hong Kong Monetary Authority also came up with the cross-boundary payment connect with the People's Bank of China, and that met the needs of people for cross-boundary payments involving smaller sums. Alignment of rules can allow us to expand cross-boundary payment to more scenarios such as e-commerce and SMEs. So in sum, I hope the HKSCR government can work with the authorities from other parts of the GBA. Let's deepen mutual market access in financial services. Let's drive the coordinated development of our economy. I support the motion and all the amendments. Mr. Lau Ka-kwa. Thank you, President. The 15th Five-Year Plan expressly proposes consolidating and enhancing the Greater Bay Area as a driving force. I thank Dr. Simon Lee for his motion, which allows us to have a discussion about how Hong Kong can leverage the unique strength of one country, two systems, and 3 jurisdictions in the GBA. We should explore collaborative legislation in the GBA. We should continue to deepen our alignment of rules and standards with the mainland cities of the GBA so that we can better integrate into the national development and contribute to our country. Here are my suggestions for the government to consider. First, we should consider a pilot involving major collaboration platforms to foster the cross-boundary flow of vectors of production. Hong Kong is a key growth engine. We should team up with the Guangdong authorities and Macau. We should focus on Shanghai and the Loop. These should be our collaboration platforms. so that we take the lead in the high quality opening up, high standard opening up of the GBA. On the flow of people, materials, capital, and data, we need the secure, orderly, and efficient flow between the mainland and Hong Kong. That flow will be key to the GBA. I welcome the government making the first step. The Development Bureau has already submitted the bill on the dedicated legislation for the Northern Metropolis. For the Hotel Hong Kong Park, there will be subsidiary legislation involving a white list for people to travel via the bridge in the western part of the Hotel Hong Kong Park. And there will also be specific rules on the flow of factors of production in the rest of the Hong Kong Park. I look forward to more details. Our government should work with the mainland on the flow of other factors of production. We should further streamline the rules on innovative industrial innovation and collaboration. We should proceed with pragmatism so that we can set a new standard in collaboration, and we should also build experience which can be applied to future projects and developments of a larger scale. We should expand the mutual recognition of professional qualifications. Talent is crucial to the development of the GBA. Over the past few years, the central authorities gave us their support. The GBA also, as a whole, worked together. Construction professionals from Hong Kong can already work in the rest of the GBA. As at the end of the 2025, more than 8,000 such professionals were working in the mainland cities. 5,000 or so had already obtained certificates under the one examination, multiple certificates arrangement. We want talent to pursue development in the GBA. To further that process, Hong Kong should talk to the mainland authorities about expanding the scope of the recognition of the professional qualifications. We should make it easier for professionals to practice on the other side. We should gradually relax the restrictions. In more professions, we should introduce such a mutual recognition system, and we should put in place a system to recognize the professional title so that more young professionals can integrate into the GBA and contribute to the GBA. I so submit. Dr. Junius Hall. President, I welcome this motion on exploring collaborative legislation in the GBA. I welcome in particular the amendment from Mr. Yingpeng. His amendment is about sticking to the framework of one country, two systems and the Constitution as well as the basic law. We should preserve Hong Kong's common law tradition. On that basis, we should institutionalize and to normalize legislative consultation and collaboration, and then we improve cross-boundary legislative coordination mechanisms. So we have to look at the basic law and the Constitution. Many members have many ideas. Some want standards in education. We want the flow of people, materials, capital, and data. We want to open up the flow for all these factors. I have some reservations. I support the direction, but I believe we should proceed in an incremental way. There's a draft bill for the dedicated legislation for the Northern Metropolis. We're trying to make it easier for people to travel between the mainland and the Hong Kong. On that basis, we should proceed gradually. We want to move faster with the Northern Metropolis. Things are moving slowly now, but with the right policy and a conducive environment, we want not just the input of the government, we also want to attract businesses and investment. We have other stakeholders. We want businesses to take part. Otherwise, nobody echoes our efforts. who will move to the northern metropolis if we don't have buy-in from others? So we have to take a bespoke approach. We have to target a specific region. We have a specific policy for the loop. We can attract people to that area. So we develop that area first. In the North District, there's more than 3,000 hectares. Do we open up the entire area? Let's take it one step at a time. We have several projects in mind. CHIU has been discussed for a long time. CHIU is now made part of the NM. But then what's the core of the NM? It's the Liantang and Taguoleng area. Things are still moving slowly. That's why last December, the chief executive went on his duty visit. President Xi Jinping urged the SCL government to be proactively aligning with our country's development. There's 1,000 hectares of land in Liantang. Let's take a focused approach. Let's try collaborative legislation. We can make that an attraction for others to invest in the area, and then we wouldn't have to put in so much money. Next week, we will have to look at the loans ordinance. We have to put in an enormous amount of money into the northern metropolis. We put in the policy, we have to nurture it, we have to show people that that is a place where people can make money, that place will succeed, and then we can achieve speed and efficiency. Otherwise, you have so many policies. You can do it anywhere, like in Mongkok. You don't have to go to the northern metropolis. Policies matter, but focus matters even more. So submit. Thank you.
Captain Luther Lam. Thank you, President. I speak in support of Dr. Hoey Simon Lee's motion on exploring collaborative legislation in the GBA. Collaboration is one direction that we're going to take under the National 15th Five-Year Plan. In the chapter dedicated to Hong Kong and Macau, in the National 15th Five-Year Plan, there's mention that Hong Kong should develop itself into an international financial, shipping, and trading center, and that there should be coordinated development among the GBA cities. The Guangzhou-Zhuhai-Macau railway should be developed as well. My understanding is that we have to work with other GBA cities to create synergies. At the same time, we have to facilitate the flow of people, data, service, and capital. With the reunification of Hong Kong and Macau, we have the most unique system, which feature one country, two systems, and three legal jurisdictions. It is the modern socialist system under the mainland, and we are a free economy. If we complement and work with each other, we'll be able to achieve greater results. Take the international maritime law as an example. Hong Kong upholds the common law system, and we strive to develop ourselves into an international shipping center, and we have the advantages to deal with maritime-related arbitration cases. We have to study how we can better make use of the ports in the GBA, and that's how we can work together to promote the industry. We have the outlined development plan of the GBA, and in 2023, there was an MOU on promoting the dovetailing of mechanisms among the GBA. I'm more concerned about talent connectivity as well as manufacturing material standard alignment. Qualifications for vehicle drivers is a long-standing issue. We still haven't seen alignment in this regard in terms of their qualifications recognition. With the limitation in terms of the number of trucks as well as cross-boundary logistics, well, Hong Kong is the major pathway for goods to be transported, so we need to have a mechanism to coordinate the quota for vehicles. And also turning to manufacturing material standards. we adopt different standards compared to our country, and therefore we've lost some business opportunities. Take paint used for vessels. Our standards differ from that in the mainland. The fireproof material manufactured in the mainland cannot be used in Hong Kong, so a lot of ocean-going vessels have to turn to the mainland for repair and maintenance. Therefore, I speak in support of Mr. Andrew Yao's amendment, that is, we have to promote collaborative legislation in areas such as ecological and environmental protection, as well as transport connectivity. I also agree with Mr. Duncan that we have to develop standards for cross-boundary infrastructure, as well as for regulatory sandboxes. In the latest budget, it is mentioned we have to promote the low-altitude economy. The government will, in phases, explore the use of drones as well as using drones for goods transport and cross-boundary transport. So we have to come up with a uniform set of standards in order to make sure the sharing of data. This is crucial for our development. I so submit. Next, Ms. Carmen Khan. President, there is a chapter in the National 15th Five-Year Plan that we have to deepen the development of the GBA as well as forge closer convergence of rules and mechanisms. There is also a chapter that stresses the importance of the integrated development of the GBA. Back in 2021, when I ran for the Legislative Council membership, I already called for such convergence of rules. I think we have to abide by the Constitution, the Basic Law, as well as the One Country, Two Systems as we explore collaborative legislation. In the third plenary session, exploring collaborative legislation was made a priority for the first time. My understanding is that MPC deputies in different places can, within their authorities, come up with their own laws, and they work together to enact laws. To ensure collaborative legislation, we have to respect one country, two systems, as well as the three legal jurisdictions. We have to take into consideration the circumstances of the three places, and also we have to make sure that there is flow of capital as well as people. Dr. Lee mentioned other Bay Areas in the world, and they all fall under one country. And I think we cannot make an apple-to-apple comparison between other Bay Areas in the world with the GBA. For Guangdong, Hong Kong, Macau, and Shenzhen, I think it's a good thing if there could be closer communication among their legal authorities. Under the executive-led approach, we can have dedicated task forces that explore how we can have more collaboration among GBA cities. I think only after a further exploration that we can study how we can enact laws together. Recently, I went with G19 members to inspect the Guangdong port. On the joint clearance and collaborative inspection approach, I think it is a vivid example that we can study. MPC deputies authorized Shenzhen to implement laws of Hong Kong on the land of Shenzhen, and the State Council has to put a limit to the period or duration for which the land could be used. And then Shenzhen and Hong Kong authorities, they respectively enact their own laws to ensure this clearance approach could work. As for the reciprocal recognition and enforcement of judgments in civil commercial matters, These are not considered as examples of collaborative legislation. The court in the mainland, they have their own interpretation of the law, but then the Hong Kong judiciary, they have their own arrangement as well. Now turning to the development of the northern metropolis, it is part of the matters to be studied in the National 15th Five-Year Plan. We have to make breakthroughs, and without breakthroughs, when the 15th Five-Year Plan period concludes, we won't be able to achieve anything. Shenzhen on the 1st of March promulgated a regulatory regime to facilitate the flow of capital and people. For example, biosamples could be shared between Shenzhen and other places. I understand that in the loop there will be flow of personnel, and I hope that with the draft dedicated legislation for the northern metropolis, we'll be able to achieve breakthroughs. And as for the flow of other items, I hope that together with Shenzhen, we could come up with a mechanism to ensure that we can achieve what we want. I hope that by exploring collaborative legislation, we'll be able to achieve expeditious development. Thank you. Next, Dr. Eric Yim. President. Through the National 15th Five-Year Plan, the country promotes the integrated development of the GBA. This provides a room for us to make breakthroughs. Dr. Hoey Simon Lee moved this motion so that we could focus on the promotion of the integrated development of the GBA, so I support this motion. We have to make progressive achievement. We should do it step by step. In the INT park, we have 2 parks, and we can use that as a pilot to study the cross-boundary flow of data. On IP protection, we can, based on the existing legislations, establish organizations, and by enacting laws respectively by GBA cities, we can boost the development of the boundary control points. This can be a pilot for other projects in the GBA. With connectivity, we can further promote the soft connectivity of standards. We should promote alignment of standards for construction materials, as well as safety standards. There should also be mutual recognition of these standards. We should come up with a third-party certification system for these standards, so that there won't be any impacts to the local legal systems. We should introduce Hong Kong laws and engage jurors from Hong Kong as well as mediators from Hong Kong. And drawing from our valuable experience, we could rely on courts from the GBA to build a mechanism. We should also ensure that there is IP protection as well as flow of data. This is what we need for a knowledge-based economy. We have to combat infringement on patents and to protect common interests. We can explore an arbitration system for cases related to IP protection. As for flow of data, we can build a GBA data hub, and we should come up with different classification standards. All in all, collaborative legislation in the GBA faces challenges, but there is feasibility for us to achieve it. Instead of having a common or uniform set of laws, we should allow various places to enact their own laws. We should tackle the easy points first and then overcome the difficult challenges. We should transform the differences and discrepancies among the three places into development dividends so that we can contribute to the high-quality development of our country and that we can serve as a pilot in this regard. I so submit I support Dr. Hoey Simon Lee's motion.
Mr. Alan Chan, President. One country, two system, three legal jurisdictions is the unique advantage of the Greater Bay Area. This is also a systemic threshold that we have to overcome. Today, we want to look at how we can lower the social costs to consolidate Hong Kong's position as the 8 centers. I'd like to give my views on how we can explore collaborative legislation. Due to the difference in systems and institutions, we suffer from high social costs. According to the Higher People's Court statistics, in 2025, the number of cases that we have handled on civil and commercial judgment in Hong Kong and Macau amount to 1.7 million. This shows that there is heavy legal and time costs on cross-boundary business. I think that we should learn from history to promote the development of GBA standards. Some 2,000 years ago, Emperor Qing promote common transport systems. And I think that this is the time that we set up a common GBA standards as well. Through collaborative legislation, we can establish standardized GBA regulations. This will lower the compliance burden of the enterprises and create a bigger market in the country. To promote collaborative legislation in the 3 places, we must leverage our status as an international and regional legal disputes resolution center and a regional IP hub. We have to deepen the Greater Bay Area rule of law action agenda, as well as the action plan on the construction of the rule of law. We have to work on 3 interfaces, 2 connects, and 1 GBA, and to promote the convergence and flow of talents. I have a few suggestions. First, we have to establish a regularized collaborative mechanism in the Greater Bay Area. We can learn from the experience of Beijing, Tianjin, and Hebei region. We can establish a working group with the other 2 governments to work on areas that are the least controversial, say, for example, cross-boundary flow of data and certifications, so that we can align their standards. Second, we have to work on our 8-center positioning and deepen collaboration on laws and IP. Hong Kong as an Asian International Legal Dispute Resolution Center, I think that we have to work on coordinating arbitration and mediation rules. On IP, copyrights, and financing, we should work on collaborative legislation to create a favorable business environment for IT. Third, we have to promote a mutual recognition of professional qualifications so that we create a legal talent pool for the Greater Bay Area. Currently, the threshold for GBA legal professional examination have been lowered from 5 years of experience to 3 years. So I think that we should further lower the threshold and expand the scope of business that can be covered by people who pass the GBA legal professional examination. President, by collaborative legislation, we are not going to establish a single set of law for the three places. We just want to go for a common denominator despite the systemic differences. President, I so submit I support the motion and the amendment. Mr. Augustine Wong. President, I thank Dr. Hoey Lee for his motion on exploring collaborative legislation in the Greater Bay Area. The construction of the Greater Bay Area is of strategic importance to our country. The 15th five-year plan says that we want to and we need to promote high-quality development of the Greater Bay Area. In the next 5 years is the key moment for us to develop the area. We have the advantage of one country, two system. We must contribute our strength. There are much difference in terms of standards between Hong Kong, Macau, and the mainland. If we can have collaborative legislation, then we can remove barriers and overcome obstacles. But it should not undermine our common law, tradition, and one country, two systems principle. We have to establish a set of standards so that we can combine the advantage of Hong Kong's international standards and the mainland's economy of scale. So I think that we can work on, first of all, supervision or supervisory mechanism. We can promote the flow of people, capital, goods, and information to lower the cost of various industries. Take the real estate trade that I represent as an example. Currently, there is a difference in terms of construction, supervision, material, so on and so forth. Hong Kong used the UKBS or ASTM standards. The price is far higher than the materials that meet the national standards. However, the quality of Chinese manufactured materials is very high. And we have already introduced the Guobiao, the national standards in the Northern Link construction in Hong Kong, but it's not been adopted widely yet. So I think that through collaborative legislation, we should give the Guobiao a higher status. I think that we can also create a whitelist to promote the use of materials that meet the mainland standards. Currently, for the same batch of construction materials, we have to test and certify them separately in Hong Kong and Shenzhen. So I think that by having collaborative legislation, we can achieve what Mr. Ka-fai said in his amendment, that is having one examination and multiple licenses. Now, on supervisory system, the Hong Kong construction sector is constrained by the buildings ordinance. The mainland has their own set of law. The supervisory process, the testing, the approval procedures are all different in Hong Kong and Macau. If we can have our standards aligned, then we can have more collaborative projects with Guangdong and Macau. If we don't have a collaborative set of legislation, then compliance cost will be higher. So I think that we can establish a cross-boundary construction supervisory and collaboration mechanism so that we can share the same standards in three places. When there's problems, we can work with each other to trace the source of the problems to enhance and ensure the quality of our works. Complicated approval procedures is why the cost of construction is so high in Hong Kong. I'm glad to see that the administrations, for example, building department, have been promoting a one-stop construction approval procedures. They have shortened the approval time and simplified the documents that have to be submitted. So I think that if we can align our standards with that of mainland, then we can save administrative costs and construction costs in turn. The cost saved can be invested in infrastructures, talent, in innovation, so on and so forth, to create a virtuous cycle. Overall speaking, I think that we should focus on the alignment of technical standards so that the Hong Kong construction sector can lower their cost and shorten the time and enhance competitiveness through collaborative legislation. At the same time, we must keep to the one country, two systems and adhere to our basic law. Thank you. Mr. Alex Fan. President, the motion and the amendments are about collaborative legislation. I support the overall direction, but I have questions regarding the details. The premise is that we have to adhere to one country, two systems, and respect the distinctions among the three places. It was often said that we want to contribute to our country, but Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau have their own history, have their own legal system. Should we align the laws in the three places? The country supports Hong Kong in maintaining our unique status and common law tradition. We have to make sure that the three places uphold their respective characteristics. And this is in line with the interest of Hong Kong and Macau government. Over the years, Hong Kong, Macau, and Mainland have been working on reciprocal recognition and enforcement of civil and commercial judgment between Hong Kong and Macau. We have accumulated experience. In 2019 January, we have signed the arrangement on the reciprocal recognition of civil and commercial judgment, and in 1999 and 2013 we have signed the reciprocal enforcement with Macau and Mainland. In 2020 we signed some supplementary arrangement to improve the mechanism. On keeping of records, we also signed an agreement with the Mainland in 2019. Apart from that, the Supreme People's Court and the Mainland Department of Justice have established the principles of allowing Hong Kong invested enterprises to adopt Hong Kong law and to choose for arbitration to be seated in Hong Kong. In 2025, there was one Hong Kong invested enterprises that chose Hong Kong to be the place for arbitration, and there have been multiple sets of examples of collaborative legislation on the mainland. Say, for example, on observatory, on traffic and transport. But these kind of collaborations are rather fragmented still. So I think that we can make use of a collaborative legislation to align their standards. I have a few suggestions. Now, regarding the reciprocal recognition and enforcement of civil and commercial judgment between Hong Kong and Mainland, I think that we can set up a standards and rules that apply to all three places. Say, for example, the jurisdictions on litigation, arbitration, and keeping of records. Brussels I regulations provides for solutions of civil and commercial judgment in Europe. However, Hong Kong is just a special administrative region. Our situation is different from that of the European Union. Still, we can learn from them. Under one country, two systems, we can establish a mechanism that is tailored to the three places. Apart from aligning our rules, we have to have someone who is conversant in the laws of the three places. I think that we should regularize the GBA legal professional examination. We should make good use of the Hong Kong International Legal Academy to nurture talents that is well versed in common law and mainland civil law. So I support the original motion and the amendment. I so submit.
Mr. Lee Kuan Yew. I support Dr. Simon Lee's motion on exploring collaborative legislation in the GBA. Under the 15th five-year plan, our role has changed. We're not just integrating into national development. Instead, we're contributing to it. So we should respond to different challenges through collaborative legislation. We first identify the challenges and then we overcome the challenges. Take biomedicine as an example. There are many institutional barriers holding back the industry. In 2025, the global pharma market was 1.6 trillion US dollars, and that market is growing rapidly. Shenzhen and Guangzhou have also formed trillion RMB industry clusters. They are home to leading drug makers, and they also have application scenarios. We have globally recognized R&D capability in Hong Kong. We are also aligned with global practice in regulatory approval. So in theory, different parts of the Greater Bay Area can complement each other and become a globally competitive hub. But there are barriers, duplicate approval requirements, data that cannot be transferred across the boundary between Hong Kong and the mainland, among other issues. So there is a need for collaborative legislation. Now we can take a vaccine developed by HKU as an example. So it's about stem cell to get rid of resistance to organ transplant. If this drug works out, then people won't have to worry about such resistance and they don't have to take drugs. So here's what we can do under collaborative legislation. We should go for such legislation over mutual recognition of clinical data. Data, that is clinical data from Hong Kong, will require further approval from the mainland. Data that cannot be used directly will add to the costs for businesses. Our clinical data are of great quality. We also have a globally trusted clinical trial system. Our clinical data are referred to by the Food and Drugs Administration of the United States and the European Medicines Agency. We also need a mechanism facilitating the flow of different factors of production in the Greater Bay Area. For biomedicine research, we need the cross-boundary flow of biosamples involving human body parts. The approval procedure now is protracted and takes months. So we should try collaborative legislation using the loop as a pilot site. We should do a white list with streamlined approval procedures. Hopefully, the approval can be shortened to just a few weeks. And we should also explore Hong Kong standards and certification and recognition in the GBA. Our 1+ mechanism is already trusted. So let's have approval in Hong Kong and recognition in the GBA. This means new medicines and medical devices approved in Hong Kong can be recognized in the rest of the GBA after a simple approval procedure. That way, people in the rest of the GBA will be able to benefit. This will leverage our strength and also bring in more advanced medical products for the mainland. Collaborative legislation is not about form, it's about resolving real issues and making the most of our institutions. That way we can truly leverage one country, two systems and integrate international development. I so submit. Mr. Nick Chen. I support Dr. Simon Lee's motion on exploring collaborative legislation in the Greater Bay Area. In 2023, the President and I were at a meeting in Beijing. There was the endorsement, the second endorsement to the legislation law of the PRC, and then there was also a law on protecting the Yellow River. Our country takes an integrated approach. This means no local legislation should hold back any national approach to a common issue. So take the Yellow River as an example. A holistic approach is needed instead of a fragmented approach. The Greater Bay Area has a unique strength that involves one country, two systems, and three jurisdictions. And that means Guangdong, Macau, and Guangdong should seek differential development instead of competing over the same space. We have achieved good results in hard connectivity. But when it comes to soft connectivity, meaning institutions, we will need a strategic mindset with the big picture in mind. Collaborative legislation is not about uniformity, and collaborative legislation should not undermine one country, two systems. We should respect the differences in the institutions in the three places. We should be a bridge. The SCL government should demonstrate resolve and work more closely with the governments of Guangdong and Macau. We should overcome departmental barriers. Differences in legal systems should not hold us back. Collaborative legislation means we should turn these differences into something that fosters development. We should align our systems so that the growth engine, that is the GBA, can give full play to its strength. I so submit. I support the motion. Mr. Kingsley Wong. Thank you. Dr. Simon Lee's motion says that fostering the integrated development of the Greater Bay Area requires closer convergence of rules and mechanisms. Mr. Duncan Chiu and Professor Michael Ngai mentioned vocational qualifications. Professor Priscilla LEUNG mentions a white list, and this shows mutual recognition of qualifications and the cross-boundary flow of talent are now part of a wider social consensus. At the two sessions, I also put forward my views. The Guangdong provincial authorities mentioned 330,000 workers in demand. Technical workers made up roughly half of them. Vocational qualifications are subject to different systems in Hong Kong, in Macau, and in Guangdong, and that's holding us back. So on mutual recognition of vocational qualifications, as Mr. Peter Shiu said, we should go for collaborative legislation so that a single test can lead to multiple certificates or forms of recognition for workers. And this means for education, manpower, and vocational training departments, they should form dedicated working groups. They should study this arrangement where one exam leads to multiple certificates, and then we should streamline our requirements. We should look at our country's national standards on vocational skills. So on construction, electrical, and repair work, we should come up with a uniform system of skills. We should also set up a skills recognition system so that workers with existing skills certificates can go to this center for recognition. The Employees Retraining Board is now undergoing reform. There's a need to amend the Employees Retraining Board ordinance. Now, it's a good start to see that after the amendment, those people will be able to receive, the ERB will be able to provide the training in the GBA, and we also need people who can repair electric vehicles. With collaborative legislation, we will be able to overcome barriers in vocational qualifications. In Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Zhuhai, and Nansha, each place has a list for professionals from Hong Kong to practice there. But those lists are very limited and limited in scope. We have yet to see greater flexibility, allowing professionals to practice in all GBA cities. So the SCL government should work with the mainland cities so that Hong Kong professionals can practice in any of the GBA cities. Now, countries' 15th five-year plan has made it clear that we should make it easier for Hong Kong residents to pursue career and studies in Hong Kong. The HKSL government should move fast, identify, embrace, and adapt to changes. We should deepen reforms of our rules and institutions so that Hong Kong can better integrate into and contribute to national development. I support Dr. Simon Lee's original motion and all amendments.
Ms. Julia Lau. Thank you, President. Thank you, President. I thank Dr. Hoey Simon Lee for the motion and all other members for their amendments. Hong Kong, under one country, two systems, possess our own advantages with the common law system. We have preserved the common law system after the reunification, and we are the only place in our country that abide by the common law system. And this helps us align ourselves with international rules. And with this stable and robust legal system, investors are confident with Hong Kong's development, and this helps reinforce our status as an international financial and trading center. According to the basic law, Hong Kong has our own authority to enact laws, and the three places may not enact laws together. Through exploring collaborative legislation, we need to find a legal basis to do that. So it is skeptical whether we could make laws together. I support that there should be integrated development of the GBA, and I understand how important it is to have aligned rules. There are 27 GBA standards covering transport, Chinese medicine, as well as other areas. The construction industry is also developing their own GBA standards. Compared to collaborative legislation, building on our existing legal systems, we should strengthen communication, coordination, and strengthen alignment of rules and mechanisms. We can use the loop as a pilot. We can develop a white list and develop green corridors. If we're to go global together, we should preserve our strengths and play the role as a super connector so that we can go global together. Next, Mr. Chan Cho-Kwong. Thank you, President. I speak in support of Dr. Simon Lee's motion on exploring collaborative legislation in the GBA. The National 15th Five-Year Plan positions Hong Kong as a new strategic fulcrum, a high-quality demonstration area, and a place for demonstrating Chinese modernization. Building on the existing soft connectivity, furthering the connection is the core value of this motion. I support this motion because currently we allow Hong Kong invested enterprises to adopt Hong Kong law in the mainland, and there are also cross-boundary sharing of information. This shows that coordination and collaboration could work. If we're to extend it to a wider level, then we need a coordination mechanism. We cannot rely on individual mechanisms. In Shanghai and Hengqin, they allow Hong Kong invested enterprises to adopt Hong Kong law, and this is an innovative approach. This kind of practices, as well as regulatory sandbox, have provided us with a good basis. And this also shows that Dr. Simon Lee is right that we could adopt pilot points and achieve what we want on a progressive basis. Dr. Simon Lee said the three places can form an expert committee and a collaborative platform. We can come up with legislative guidelines, and in the loop as well as in Hengqin, we can test out these new mechanisms. This echoes the National 15th Five-Year Plan and the 1.2 places strategic goal. We are connected with other GBA cities geographically, and we also share the same mechanisms in certain areas. I believe that if we follow Dr. Simon Lee's direction, we could play a better role as a coordinator. We will also be able to transform the existing system into development dividends. 45 members have already spoken on this motion. Dr. Hoey Simon Lee, you may now speak on the amendments. Thank you, President. I also thank the 8 members for their amendments. I thank the other members for their insights so that we could bring our heads together on this topic. I'm going to respond to the amendments here. On Mr. Wu Yingpeng's amendment, Mr. Wu suggests that there should be a coordination mechanism. Mr. Wu said we have to refer to the trading and economic rules in the 3 places. We should also draw on the existing MOUs for coordinated collaboration, and we should build a mechanism based on these. Mr. Duncan Chiu and Mr. Andrew Yao suggest testing out collaborative legislations in certain areas. Mr. Duncan Chiu said barriers have been broken in certain levels but not at the lower levels. And Mr. Andrew Yao said we should give priority to, for example, ecological and environmental protection. Well, I think we can, through collaborative legislation, come up with a dispute resolution mechanism. And we can, through legislation, build a better rule of law environment. Also, in the area of environmental protection, targeting the marine environment in the Zhujiang River, we could come up with a uniform set of regulatory standards. Dr. Thomas To and Ms. Maggie Chen, based on the original motion, make further suggestions on building dispute resolution mechanisms. Like Dr. Thomas So said, the He-Tao area itself is an example showing collaborative legislation could work. We could build on this, further facilitate legislation among the 3 places. And Ms. Maggie Chen cited some statistics showing our status as an international arbitration hub. And also, she suggests building the He-Tao area or even the GBA as an international arbitration hub. In fact, we have done a lot on how to build a commercial dispute resolution mechanisms, and we have clear legal framework on this. Mr. Peter Xu focuses on developing GBA standards so as to facilitate the flow of people, capital, and goods, and so on. I agree with Mr. Peter Xu that we could leverage our experiences on promoting GBA standards to help China standards go global. This is a core competitiveness of Hong Kong. Professor Priscilla LEUNG mentioned what she did in the past on promoting collaborative legislation. As for Professor Michael Ai, he focused on analyzing the experiences the GBA has on social security. The 8 members have helped enrich the concept of my original motion. I'm going to support all the amendments. I hope to have your support on my motion. I so submit. Thank you.
Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs. President, first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Lee once again for moving this motion on exploring collaborative legislation in the Guangdong-Hong Kong-Macao Greater Bay Area, the 8 members who moved amendments, and the 33 members who spoke on the motion for giving their views and suggestions on how we can promote the integrated development of the Greater Bay Area. Members proposed approaches and concrete recommendations on the integrated development of the GBA. It demonstrates the strong impetus of the LEUNG and the government in working together to advance high-quality GBA development and are of significant reference value to the SAR government. The central authorities have consistently and without wavering fully and accurately implemented the fundamental policy of one country, two systems, thereby preserving our unique status and advantages. In the 15th five-year plan, it sets out the blueprint and action program for a country's economic and social development over the next 5 years. Consolidating and enhancing the role of the Greater Bay Area as a source of growth is one of the strategic directions of promoting regional coordinated development in the plan. At the same time, the 15th five-year plan expressly states the need to unswervingly implement one country, two system, Hong Kong people administrating Hong Kong and a high degree of autonomy, to implement the principle of patriots administrating Hong Kong, to enhance our governance in accordance with the law, to promote our social economic development, and to give full play to our unique advantage. This provides constitutional protection and policy basis for the promotion of regional coordinated development. Under the framework of basic law and one country, two systems, we maintain the common law system. One of the unique characteristics of it is that we can create a favorable business environment. As I said in my opening remarks, having made reference to the experience on the mainland, the collaborative legislation is mostly implemented at 3 different levels. There is clear provision stated in the country's law to empower the National People's Congress to enact collaborative legislation. However, this piece of legislation would not be a national one that applied to Hong Kong. Collaborative legislation in the Greater Bay Area must be supported by the Basic Law and the Constitution. There should also be a clear demarcation between Mainland and Hong Kong's legal system while establishing connections between the system so as to fully leverage the unique advantage of a common law system in serving the overall interest of the country. President, the high-quality GBA development is about innovation-driven and reform-led. We adopt a pragmatic and effective approach to seek policy breakthroughs, to promote the high-level development of the Greater Bay Area and to promote the connection of rules and mechanisms. This is how we can complement each other. With the strong support of the country and with the concerted efforts of the 3 places, without this collaborative legislation, currently we already have measures to promote alignment rules and mechanisms. They cover areas such as legal and judicial cooperation, innovation and technology resources, capital flows, goods movement, and infrastructure connectivity. They are generally implemented administratively and within each jurisdiction's legal framework by seeking technical compatibility across different legal systems. In certain cases, the 3 places have also adopted regulatory or empowering measures through legislation within their respective powers. I will now share with you some examples. Now, I will also go over the areas of people's concern, such as the legal and judicial cooperation and GBA standards. Now, in terms of legal and judicial cooperation, the implementation of allowing Hong Kong invested enterprises to adopt Hong Kong law and choose for arbitration to proceed in Hong Kong provide Hong Kong invested enterprises with more options, flexibility, and convenience. Enterprises may, according to their needs and circumstances, choose to have contracts governed by the country's law and commercial arbitration procedures, or choose Hong Kong law as the governing law for civil and commercial contracts and Hong Kong as a seat of arbitration, thereby enjoying greater freedom of choice. Moreover, the SAR government has continued to, within the existing basic law framework, engage with the Supreme People's Court, the Ministry of Justice, and legal authorities within the Greater Bay Area on exploring the expansion of the scope of reciprocal recognition of civil and commercial judgment between Hong Kong and Mainland, and to promote the establishment of international arbitration and mediation mechanisms in the Greater Bay Area. The Greater Bay Area Legal Department's Joint Conference Mechanism was established as early as 2019 to enhance legal exchanges and cooperation among Guangdong, Hong Kong, and Macau, to join the advanced rule of law in the Greater Bay Area and provide comprehensive legal and dispute resolution services to business and the public. Under this platform, the three places have set up a Greater Bay Area mediation platform that plays a role in formulating mediation standards, establishing common rules for adoption by mediation institutions and mediators in the Greater Bay Area. Looking forward, the three places will look into establishing arbitration rules among the three places to better serve the demand of arbitration and mediation within the Greater Bay Area, and to improve diversified dispute resolution mechanisms. The three places will also establish a Greater Bay Area commercial mediation and arbitration platform. We are promoting the nomination of mediation and arbitration institutions from the three places to join the platform. Ms. Maggie Chan also talked about the establishment of an arbitration platform in the Loop. The principle of Hong Kong invested enterprises to adopt Hong Kong law have been expanded to the Greater Bay Area. This has enhanced the alignment of legal services in Mainland and Hong Kong that include commercial contracts, compliance business, dispute resolution, IP protection, so on and so forth. This has enhanced investors' confidence in the Loop, and this allows tenants in the Hong Kong park to dovetail with international standards. And this also helps mainland enterprises go global. On the promotion of flow of capital in the Greater Bay Area, the SAR government have been maintaining close liaison with the People's Bank of China and mainland regulators. In May 2020, the People's Bank of China, the China Banking and Insurance Regulatory Commission, the China Securities Regulatory Commission have issued a opinion on providing financial support for the development of the Greater Bay Area. To date, measures such as Cross-Boundary Wealth Management Connect, Cross-Boundary Account Opening Services, Financing and Credit Reporting Cooperation, unilateral recognition for cross-boundary motor insurance have been implemented. On the promotion of a movement of goods, Hong Kong benefits from the basic law, we are allowed to negotiate and sign civil aviation agreements with our partners, and we are allowed to take charge of the day-to-day technical management of civil aviation. This unique system allows Hong Kong to exercise maximum freedom to leverage our strengths and develop ourselves into an international regional aviation hub. We were also able to establish the sea-air intermodal model for our Hong Kong IA Dongguan Logistics Park. There are also members who showed concern about the Northern Metropolis. Mr. So's amendment is about the development of the Northern Metropolis. To promote its development, we need to facilitate integration of Hong Kong into the Greater Bay Area. The SAR government is going to enact dedicated legislation for the Northern Metropolis to streamline our land grant procedures to promote industry development. Apart from that, the SAR government is going to meet the demand of industry development, and we are going to enact subsidiary legislation for the flow of people in the Hong Kong Park to meet the demand of industry operation. We have been working with mainland authorities. We will enact other subsidiary legislation as appropriate. All these will be promoted on the basis of existing legal framework. Now, in terms of cross-boundary vehicle access, the SAR government have been working with the Guangdong and Macau authorities to promote cross-boundary access. We have been improving our supporting infrastructure, optimizing our arrangement. We have been formulating vehicle access policies among Hong Kong, Macau, and the mainland. We aim to promote the movement of people and vehicle. We have this northern travel for Hong Kong vehicles and southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles. Guangdong provincial government have already in 2023 and 2025 issued administrative measures to allow Hong Kong vehicles to travel northward and allow southbound travel for Guangdong vehicles. This allows Hong Kong and mainland residents to travel between the two places. Regarding Mr. Hsu's amendment on GBA standards, the three places have been working on setting up GBA standards for different products to promote the convergence of rules and standards. There are some 270 GBA standards published that cover many different fields, say for example, food safety, pre-cooked food, traffic, transport, electric products, so on and so forth. The trade can adopt the GBA standards voluntarily. This promotes the connectivity among the three places and deepen economic and trade exchange and collaboration between Hong Kong, Macau, and the mainland. During the process of developing various standards, the three governments issued requirement standards following consultations outlining key areas for the proposed GBA standards. The sector was invited to give their views. After receiving applications, the Guangdong provincial authorities will arrange for experts review and conduct public consultations, and before announcing the new GBA standards, depending on the market conditions and demand, the SAR government and relevant authorities also participated in the formulation of GBA standards and encouraged the relevant industries to adopt them. Mr. Duncan Chiu amendment is also about IP protection. Mainland and Hong Kong have different systems and set of laws to deal with various IP-related policies and topics. We're not going to have mutual recognition of IP automatically. The IPD have been working with the central Guangdong Shenzhen authorities to implement various measures to save cost and time for applicants to apply for their IP to be registered in the three places. The Intellectual Property Department will continue to work with the mainland authorities to review the effectiveness of the facilitation measures and may introduce new ones where appropriate. There are also members who talked about the problem of recognition of qualifications in the Greater Bay Area. there is significant achievement in this area. The Development Bureau and the Guangdong Ministry have already established this mutual recognition or the professional title evaluation system for construction industry. This arrangement have been regularized. It covers many different construction and engineering related professions. As there are approximately 580 Hong Kong professionals that have obtained the professional title in the mainland. The SAR government will continue to work with Guangdong authorities to extend the professional title evaluation to other fields and titles. Thank you. President, all these demonstrate that the three governments have been committed to apply innovative thinking to overcome institutional and systemic differences. Through various measures and systems, we want to promote a efficient flow of people, goods, capital, and data. The uniqueness of the Greater Bay Area have been reflected in the full respect given to the one country, two system, three legal jurisdictions principle. The SAR government attaches a lot of importance to the high quality development of the Greater Bay Area. We have this steering committee on integration into national development, and this is led by the chief executive. We will continue to provide a top-level overall planning and supervision to advance and steer our integration into our country's development. Looking ahead, the SAR government will continue to maintain close communication with the relevant central authorities, the Guangdong Provincial Government, and the Macau SAR government. We will work together to deepen and optimize our cooperation mechanism, further leverage our cooperation platforms within the Greater Bay Area, deepen alignment of rules and mechanisms with the spirit of complementarity and mutual benefit. We strive to introduce more policy that benefit Hong Kong while also facilitate Greater Bay Area development. President, as also submit.
I now call upon Mr. Wu Yingpeng to move an amendment. Mr. Wu, President, I move my amendment. I propose the question to you that the amendment moved by Mr. Wu Yingpeng be passed. I now put the question to you as stated. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, that is, those returned by the election committee and those returned by functional constituencies and geographical constituencies. I declare the amendment passed. Mr. Duncan CHIU, as the previous amendment has been passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that the further amendment moved by Mr. Duncan CHIU be passed. I now put the question to you as stated. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, that is, those returned by the election committee and those returned by functional constituencies and geographical constituencies. I declare the amendment passed. Dr. Thomas So, as the previous amendments have been passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that the further amendment moved by Dr. Thomas So be passed. I now put the question to you as stated. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, that is, those returned by the election committee and those returned by functional constituencies and geographical constituencies. I declare the amendment passed. Mr. Andrew Yao, as the previous amendments have been passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that the further amendment moved by Mr. Andrew Yao be passed. I now put the question to you as stated. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, that is, those returned by the election committee and those returned by functional constituencies and geographical constituencies. I declare the amendment passed. Ms. Maggie Chan, as the previous amendments have been passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that the further amendment moved by Ms. Maggie Chan be passed. I now put the question to you as stated. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, that is, those returned by the election committee and those returned by functional constituencies and geographical constituencies. I declare the amendment passed. Mr. Peter SHIU, as the previous amendments have been passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that the further amendment moved by Mr. Peter SHIU be passed. I now put the question to you as stated. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, that is, those returned by the election committee and those returned by functional constituencies and geographical constituencies. I declare the amendment passed. Professor Priscilla LEUNG, as the previous amendments have been passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that the further amendment moved by Professor Priscilla LEUNG be passed. I now put the question to you as stated. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, that is, those returned by the election committee and those returned by functional constituencies and geographical constituencies. I declare the amendment passed. Professor Michael Ngai, as the previous amendments have been passed, you may move your further amendment. President, I move my further amendment. I propose the question to you that the further amendment moved by Professor Michael Ngai be passed. I now put the question to you as stated. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, that is, those returned by the election committee and those returned by functional constituencies and geographical constituencies. I declare the amendment passed. Dr. Hoey Simon Lee, you still have 2 minutes 11 seconds to reply, then the debate will come to a close. Dr. Hoey Simon Lee. Thank you, President. One country, two systems is a strong and unique system. And the GBA requires an effective and coordinating tool. The one country, two systems and three legal jurisdictions have its unique advantages. I thank all the members who have spoken on this motion. Collaborative legislation is not about making your own set of laws. Instead, it's about exercising the authority of each jurisdiction under one country, two systems, and the Constitution as well as the basic law. We strive to achieve the greatest consensus. The GBA sees its unique one country, two systems features. We see international competition among clusters of cities as well as between cities. Mr. Gary Chen raised an example about carbon trading. Drawing on this experience or example, we can, through collaborative legislation, resolve any difficulties faced by the business sector and the engineering sector. And at the same time, we can facilitate the flow of goods, people, as well as capital and data. And at the same time, we can create a uniform set of GBA standards that can be promoted to the international world. This is our competitiveness, and according to a lot of members, we can develop standards on construction materials as well as agricultural as well as fishery products. And even in the education sector, we can see uniform set of standards. The MPC previously authorized the building of the express rail link in the West Kowloon station. And so we must insist on reforming ourselves, and at the same time we should abide by the one country, two systems principle to ensure closer convergence of rules and mechanisms in order to promote collaborative legislation and coordination among GBA cities. Your time is up. I now put the question to you that the motion moved by Dr. Hoey Simon Lee, as amended by Mr. Wu Yingpeng, Mr. Duncan CHIU, Dr. Thomas So, Mr. Andrew Yao, Ms. Maggie Chen, Mr. Peter Hsu, Professor Priscilla LEUNG, and Professor Michael Ngai be passed. Will members please proceed to vote? Members please press the present button. Will those in favor please raise their hands? Those against, please raise their hands. I think the question is agreed by a majority of each of the two groups of members present, that is, those returned by the election committee and those returned by functional constituencies and geographical constituencies. I declare the motion as amended passed.